All right, everybody, welcome to the Phillip, episode 2. Something that Cal and us here at Integrity wanted to get started. Should be a fun time, a little bit of a show to get everyone caught up on the past week's activities and talk through what's going to happen next week or this coming week. So Cal will be back in just a little bit, but we're going to get started here without him. I'm Boomer Logan, one of the admins here for the Ignite series on Monday nights. Go ahead, Michael.
One of the admins here for the same series that Boomer mentioned. Um, Looking forward to doing this stuff. Been wanting to do this stuff for a while. So, and I know Integrity has done something like this with more videos. Is that correct, Jacob? Back in the day.
Yeah, we used to do it for a couple of years. Todd Thomas and I used to do it. It was fairly successful, so hopefully it's something we can try again and have some different stuff along the way for our league members.
We also got one of the drivers here in the Ignite series at Integrity. We've got Gael Brooks with us. I want to say hi, Gael.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm here just to make sure that the admins aren't biased against us peasant drivers. So I, I I don't know how I got suckered into this again, but I had a lot of fun last week, so I was like, hey, why not? Let's have some more fun. Plus, I got to talk some smack about some people for our upcoming bracket we'll be chatting about.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that'll be. I mean, 3/4 of our bracket is here, so we can definitely discuss that in a moment. So, Gael is voice of the people, I guess, and I think we're gonna have this more often, where we'll have rotating caster crew. Definitely try to have probably will still be most of the admins at times, but maybe have a different driver here every week or so. I don't know how Gael got invited back after last week, but it must have gone well enough for you.
I'm pretty talented in all fashions.
You are Mr. Long Pond, so you are pretty talented.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we should probably get started. So with the recap of the Ignite series, still waiting for a couple weeks before, or just over a week now before we start the Octane series on Tuesday nights. But we had our first ever race in the Ignite series on Monday night, Daytona. We had 43 drivers take to the grid, 36 cars finish the race, 34 of those on the lead lap. Tim Johnson took the pole, and our teammate, or the DIR's teammate Rob Ackley, got the win. Definitely a great race. I guess when you guys want to jump in and see how it went from your perspective.
Well, mine started off, like I do every other plate race. I just tried to be aggressive, and I was up front for about the first half, and got collected trying to, regain some time before halfway, and spent pretty much the last half of the race fixing my car good enough to draft. Stayed on the lead lap, got a couple cautions, and the last green white checker was pretty insane. And I saw you, Boomer, pushing Rob to the lead, and Rob and Fun Horse were in my bracket. So I was at the time halfway down the backstretch on the last lap, out of my bracket, and I saw Fun Horse's puke green Mustang ahead, and I just made some moves. He tried to move up and slow me down a little bit, and ended up dooring me. I know the broadcast didn't catch it, but like I was like focused on passing Matthew to advance in my bracket, which we'll get into who I'll match up with later and look at the whole bracket later on. But that was my race.
Yeah, how'd your race go, Jacob?
So Gail, how did your no no the race went well. I think from a broader perspective, I thought the race itself was really good. Put aside my race for a second. I you know, the unfortunate part is when we did wreck, it was big because it was at the front of the field usually. Um, that was the downside, but I thought the racing was really good. I mean, you had the first half of the race went green pretty much, um, which is hard to do with that full field like that, I believe. And then that portion of the race where we were three wide for 20 laps or so, or what felt like 20 laps anyway, um, I thought was pretty impressive to do. Obviously, it didn't end great, but just to make it that far is kind of impressive on its own right. But um, my portion of the race, I thought I went really well. I had the exact opposite of strategy as Stroll. I hung out in the back for a good while. Um, we made a couple pitch strategy plays to try to set us up to get up front. We ended up front, and I was of our group. I was kind of the last man standing, and I just made the dumbest call ever with not pitting there at the really end of the race to get fuel, and that really kind of threw a wrench in what should have been a very good finish for me. If we'd have had one green white checkered, I'd have made it back and would have been fine. But anything longer than that, I'd have been in trouble, and I just did not make the right call to begin with. So, good race overall, but like you said, I could have done a heck of a lot better if I'd have just planned accordingly. So.
Yeah, and I think Gail, you were kind of in a similar situation to Jacob, were you not?
Yeah, no, I was kind of cruise control pulling my Dale Jarrett, but surprisingly, so I have that habit of I rolling back, save fuel, and then when some of those guys, I think there's a stretch where a few guys actually didn't pit under one of the like a quick early yellow or something like that, and so I was like, all right, I'm gonna get some fuel and then kind of be a little bit off strategy if I remember correctly. And I was like, I'll go further than them. And so, yeah, so then here comes the pit calls. People are starting to go. So I jump to the top and I make a pretty good charge towards like maybe top 5-ish or so before I decide to hit Piro, like I think like 2 or 3 laps later. And I literally like popped out right in the like smack middle with Steel Horse. So I think it was, I'm trying to remember who all I had around me now. I think I had Joe Dinsmore behind me, and then I had the other 2 guys up in front of me. And I was like, well, this is good. They know me. I know them. I'm just going to sit here and ride. And so I was actually like in the main pack for a good chunk of that second portion of the run, which I went back and I looked and I was like, holy crap, I got halfway points because that is rare for me with the way I race. And then like I said, I mean, very, very green the first half. And honestly, would have gone green longer. I mean, Joe sent a little video clip of it. The craziest thing happening with that weird little ignition hiccup, and it wasn't even like his ignition just shut off. It was like it was sputtering, almost just like a intermittent issue. And then I guess he had a power issue afterwards. After unfortunately the big wreck happened. So I gotta say, yeah, I thought it was a great race for a new league, new season. It's usually like I always like kind of preface races like those. So it's like, hey, we're gonna have growing pains, we're gonna have this and that. I mean, but the 5 yellows for a over 100 lap race, I mean, I was really impressed. And I like I said, if it wasn't for that one little thing that kind of I feel like maybe triggered a little bit of the cautions at the second half of it, I think we would have had maybe like 3 yellows or something like that. So I thought the race itself was really, really good. So well done, all the drivers. And then the icing on the cake, those towards the end there, you got Jacob like, bye Gael. It's like, no, come back here. I forgot about the bracket, but now I want you to stay behind me. But it didn't matter. That was for third, not for second. So our bracket we didn't do so well there. But I like I said, bracket or not and all that, I thought it was a great time. I had to repair damage towards the end, but I had so much fun. It was like I said, it was a really good race.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I mean, obviously, like you mentioned, I think the big one that really happened was Adam Wood, right? You said he was his like car like lost ignition and then his power went out, like leading the race, and that was probably the biggest caution that we had. So,
I asked him if he just blew up, and he kind of said yeah, but then I heard his power went out, so maybe like
I don't know.
the power to his wheel kind of gave out, and then like the whole power to his house went out because it was really weird that it didn't blow up. I watched the replay.
Because you could see that in sim, yeah.
Yeah, and it would have made a sound. It just like he slowed down. So I'm thinking.
No, it's the tack. Yeah, the tack was like sputtering, like it was because like I've had it where my tack actually.
Or...
No, I think it was just something with the like I have a button box on mine, and so like there was one time where my button box like the USB got disconnected or something, like it just had a little weird issue, but I literally had to coast to the pits, remap my ignition key to a keyboard button and then get rolling again. And so it cost me a ton. I wasn't in the middle of a draft or anything like that, so it was fine. But so I'm thinking, like you said, maybe the power issue, like if it maybe it doesn't have a surge protector or a battery backup. I don't know his setup, but yeah, maybe it was just enough to, like you said, kind of just knock the power out of whatever was controlling his ignition box, if it's a button box or whatever it may be. So yeah, pretty wild. I mean, we'll just say the iRacing's kind of bringing in hard, or what do you call it, equipment failures now just randomly, like NASCAR 2003.
Yeah. I mean, they'll happen every once in a while. I've seen people where their wheels just completely disconnected, or I've seen people where like their shifter stops working or stuff like that. So I mean, it happens, but that was definitely a unique one. But
In the day, I remember my wheel would like fall off the desk. I was tugging on it so hard.
Yeah.
It's right in my hands. But um,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I thought from an admin perspective that the racing was good. Especially with a bunch of people that like didn't really, know each other that well. I mean, the
Yeah.
majority do, but there's always a couple that you don't know how they're gonna act. You can see, take the podium stuff that went on this weekend, how that can go when you just kind of let anybody, rip the track, and how poorly those races can turn out. So for us to
Yeah.
have 5 yellows and really only, 2 big wrecks, I don't count the one at the line. But yeah, overall great. I really hope we get a full field tomorrow night. I really hate to, send people home if that's the case, but we're prepared for that.
Yeah.
Rockingham will be insane
Yeah.
if we get 43 people. Just
Yeah.
that
Before we get to
there'll be
that,
cars everywhere.
yeah, before we get to that, we'll finish the Daytona race recap. That's kind of a good teaser. So obviously, I know Gael and Jacob were in my bracket group, so I wanted to touch on that for a quick second. Obviously, Blake Gordon and I were the ones who actually advanced in our group, but almost seemed like obviously I was pushing Rob to the lead and eventually to the win, and I had my issue where I wasn't necessarily looking to see anybody inside, and kind of really more or less spun myself off the nose of Brad Patton there in the tri-oval with a couple hundred feet to go, but I ended up finishing backwards. I think maybe 2 car lengths ahead of you, Gael, who was maybe 2 car lengths ahead of Jacob. So that definitely ended up being quite a bit of fun finish to that bracket for sure.
Yeah, I found you after the line though.
You did get me after the line, but obviously that doesn't count. So too little, too late. But so yeah, so we obviously mentioned Rob Ackley got the win. I'd like to say thanks in part to a lot of the work that I did to push him to the front. He had a lot of damage, but it was really cool for me at least. It was really cool for me at least to get a teammate a win. It was really cool to see him win that, and obviously first for our team and first for Ignite's definitely kind of special. But there's a lot of fun action. Obviously, Justin Anderson led the most laps, so he spent a lot of time up in the front. And Brandon Bernhardt, hard charger, he moved up 32 spots. He actually finished sixth. So top 10 was Rob Ackley, Brad Patton, Blake Gordon, Don Stevenson, and Shane Ewing. And then you had Brandon in sixth, Timothy Johnson, who was our pole sitter, with Michael Stroll, Forrest Smith, and Kevin McGarvey as our top 10. Definitely a mix of names. Like Michael kind of mentioned, there's a lot of new guys, new league, new series, people who aren't always used to running around each other, and it was definitely really cool to see that and how that played out, and how everyone I think did pretty well getting along and having a pretty clean race. With I know Jacob already mentioned we had I think like 20 laps where we were 3 wide for at least 6 rows deep, so
Yeah,
that was a lot of
little
fun.
intense.
I would say it's a good first race.
Even even with that 3 wide, I went back and watched. Like there were some moments where someone got sideways. I know at Jacob, so you got bounced off a couple times. There was almost some big junk that didn't happen, and what ended up being a big chunk out of that was 2 cars single file just mistiming a bump. So um, it was great from my perspective in the back. I saw a lot of movement up there.
Good race for sure. So okay, now you mentioned Rockingham. We have that one coming up a little bit. Um, I guess we do have a point standings update that we could give, but obviously after one race, it's
Well, we could
getting
talk about it. I know
sure.
Calvin here in
Okay.
the script has only the top 10, but here on Mondays,
Yeah.
we take the top 16. I know I had some false information about winning or in. That is incorrect. We take the top 16 on points, regardless of how many starts you made or how many wins you have. And then all the bonus points that you accumulate get added to that. So I got the sim hub open, and I'm gonna start from the bottom to the top. Right now, the cutoff. You got John Gervin, 16th.
Oh, John.
I know he might not feel like he will stay there. He'll probably tell you that himself. But that's a really good start to
Sure.
be 16th. With all these new guys, you're not really too sure how the competition is going to stack out. You got guys like Thomas Bresci outside the top 16, way down there in 31st. I know Braxton Deweese is fast, Justin Morton's fast, Tara Buck is fast, Cohan if he shows up, Rowden. those are like 5, 6, 7 guys already there deep in the field. Chad Mikas is also outside. A couple guys who had some bad Daytonas, but that top 16 is there for the taking. Really, I think for a lot of guys who wouldn't normally be able to get into the top 12 or top 10 that we used to do in a previous league, and then bump it up one more spot. Guess who? It's you, Boomer. You and John are always like around each other in the point standings.
It's so close.
It's so weird. You guys were in this. I don't know. Were you guys in the same bracket? I wasn't sure.
No, we weren't.
No,
But him
but
and I.
you guys,
Yeah.
you guys are always like right there. You can't get rid of each other. And then, Gael, you're right there in what is it, 15th, 14th?
Yeah, and
We're
I say I
tied,
got
actually. He's
and I
got a
got to point
tiebreaker
out
over
that
me.
yeah, I was gonna say. So I mean, I don't know if it's better looking or what how they rank the tiebreakers, but as I would like to point out that I'm ahead of Boomer and I'm ahead of Jacob there in the points. So just putting it out there. So I was actually P2 in
Yeah,
our
Jacob's
group.
actually Jacob's only 2 points off the cutoff right now for the top 16. So as of today, Jacob doesn't make the playoffs, and the rest of us here do. Save for Cal, who'll be joining in a moment. He's down in 22nd. So
Jacob, right above Gael is Trevor Trago. Is he an integrity like guy?
Yeah.
How is he? How is
regular,
he?
yeah.
How's he kind of fall in with these names that we've got new to the league? That, in your opinion, because I don't know him.
Yeah. So I mean, Trevor does a really nice job. I think consistency is going to be his thing. The guys who, especially the ones that are in for Monday night, I would have to say are really good at being consistent. If they can stay out of trouble and not get involved in accidents or whatever, they do a really nice job of finishing front half of the pack. Like they all have that level of talent. Um, so I think an interesting part about Monday night for sure is going to be kind of like you mentioned. You've got guys who had a bad Daytona further back than even where I'm at currently, who are really super good, but you've got guys who can be really consistent. I think Trago's one. I don't have the points in front of me, but Trago's a guy who you're going to have a hard time getting out of the points if he racks up a few consistent finishes. Um, and then obviously, I'm sure you got the guys like Ackley and Patton, who's also one of our normal guys, who's just really, really fast. And so you're going to have, and I think I mentioned this last week, you're going to have 20, 25 guys trying to make this the playoffs, and it's going to be really hard to kind of climb out if you have a couple bad races. I know you get drop weeks, but um, yeah, it's going to be a challenge. You have to stay out of trouble, um, and you know, I think it's going to be the name of the game. And Rockingham, kind of like Stroll alluded to, it'll be really hard to do that. I think with the
Turn
full
2
field.
is critical there.
Yeah.
For making speed and staying out of trouble. So I'm hoping a lot of guys keep that in mind and really work on their turn 2.
Yeah.
Right above Trevor is Matthew Thunhorse. I haven't raced with him a lot. He raced some ELE events with us, 2 of them, and the last one we did, he kicked our tail. So I'm not sure how he does in the B car. Can't really judge Daytona. Forrest has run with us in a previous league. It'd be interesting to see if he can stay up there because he's usually kind of middle of the pack guy. Kevin McGarvey, I do not know. He comes from, I think, the BTDY league, along with Justin Carey. I think those guys are teammates. And then you got Tyler Hensley, who I'm pretty sure is thrilled to be even in the top 10 in points right now and get out of Daytona with that run, given the season he had last year, which was abysmal for him.
Sorry again for ass packing you, Tyler.
Yeah, so that brings us up to what our top 9 in points, and then well, I guess if you want to introduce
was
yourself,
9.
you can, or I can introduce you.
I am me, and I am the shit, and I'm the best.
Yep.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, but I mean, I do.
But you
I'm
are
just
18 points, yeah.
Yeah, and with the way my Daytona went, I should be like 40th. So Daytona's always touch and go with me. I'm either up there or not. So whatever.
Well, Stroll, I do think you are one of those things, but which one you think you are and which one we think you are might be two very different things.
Forget what I said, so I'll just go with it.
One of those was the shit. I'll let you figure out what the.
Yeah, well. Yeah, buddy.
Oh. We kid because we care.
Yeah, no, hey, I take it all, baby.
All right, so we had in seventh place in the standings Brandon Bernhardt. He's got 39 points now. He was our hardest charger, up 32 spots at Daytona. He had a pretty quiet but solid night. Seemed like all night was just there at the end, and I ended up kind of hanging him out to dry when I pushed Rob out to the front. But him and his teammate Blake Gordon had a really good night too.
Yeah, Blake was up there all night, and then of course we all know Don Stevenson. He's an admin here as well. And last season
Yep.
when we ran with him, he was always solid. He hasn't taken that step over that hurdle yet to be consistently in the top 5 or winning races, but he's always consistently, between I would say like 7th and 12th. I expect Don to make the playoffs, in my opinion.
Yeah, in a
Then
good spot so far, sitting in P6. Go ahead.
Yep, and you got Shane. I don't know Shane. He's new. Comes with the Dizzy group. So I really don't have an opinion on where he may fall in this whole thing. I'm sure we're going to learn a lot about a lot of
people.
our drivers tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Shane's solid though. That's like I did talk to him after. He's like he's one of those guys that's like expects to kind of come out of Daytona with like a 40th kind of a thing. So he was like to get a top 5. He was very very happy about that. So, and I think he's gonna be. I think he's a solid like I'd say top 10, top 15. I haven't raced with him a ton, but usually when I have been around him, he's been usually pretty quick. So, I think he's definitely one I would expect to see stay in that top 16 for sure.
I think the rest of these guys, not even just based on where they're at currently, I expect them all to make the top 16. You got Brad Patton, who showed some pace. I mean, Jacob, you know him better than I do when it comes to intermediates. I haven't raced with him in over 10 years. So if you want to give a little insight on Brad.
Yeah, I mean, long and short of it's championship contender. I think he's got the speed every track you go to. The thing he's going to have to work on, in my opinion, is just being that scotch over aggressive. Every once in a while it catches him out, and might lead to trouble or whatever as far as him staying out of wrecks or anything like that. But definitely has probably I would call him the tip of the spear as far as speed's concerned. Him and Ethan didn't get to qualify due to some technical issues last Monday, but those two from our group are especially quick. So we'll see how that pans out as the weeks roll on.
Yeah, I hope not to turn myself off his nose again. But if he's that far up in the field, I probably won't have to worry about it with how far back I'll be. But
Can't tell you how many times I've listened to that clip on my Twitch.
yeah, we're moving on. So in third place in the points is Rob Ackley, race winner, a teammate of ours, as we already highlighted. Timothy Johnston, second place with 48 points right now.
We
Came
raced
in,
with him a lot with
yeah.
the Dizzy guys. He's pretty quick. He was a lot in pro, does he not?
Tim's gonna be quick. Yeah, he's the one I'm gonna be watching. I'm not trying to twist gears or change gears yet, but Tim's gonna be one I'm gonna be watching on tomorrow up at Rockingham because like I said, he's fast, but he's so smooth, and I think that one's gonna be. I feel like that track's gonna fit right in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And Blake Gordon, Blake's fast. His wheelhouse is short tracks, as you found out at USA the other night.
Yeah.
Yep.
He made some friends on Tuesday night. It sounded like
He did. I think a few people made some friends on Tuesday night.
Blake can be his own worst enemy, and I'm sure he'll tell you the same thing. He's not afraid to make jabs and make comments and kind of make our jobs as admins a little hard sometimes.
he does like to stir the pot, doesn't he?
He does he doesn't. I don't think he's ever stepped over the line yet, but he likes to get there. And I'm sure he'll get there a couple times, but he just gets to that point where it's like, do I want to yell? It's just Blake.
Yeah, he's absolutely going to be in contention at Rockingham this week, so he'll definitely be good. And I think that kind of maybe gives us a good segue into the brackets. Looks like we got Kalvin back with us, so I'll let you tee this up, buddy. This is Well, first of all, if you want to introduce yourself, we already did earlier.
Oh,
This was kind of your baby, and we, all kind of help you deliver it. But go
oh,
for it.
oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, sorry about that. Had a little bit of a family snafu, so I missed the first part of the discussion. But if you didn't already know, my name's Kalvin Filarski, one of the admins here. Um, yeah, so talking about the bracket stuff. So what all did you guys go through so far? Did you guys talk
Uh,
about any of the matchups for tomorrow, or not at
No.
all?
no, we talked about Gael, Jacob, and my bracket and how much fun that was. But we haven't really teed up anything as far as what tomorrow brings.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Whoops.
You
All
We
had
right.
got
corrected up there.
we got Rob Ackley
Oh
and
boy.
some plug named Michael Stroll at the top of the left side there. That's gonna
Yeah.
be a fun matchup, not just because they're teammates, but
They're both
I
quick.
yeah, I hate to give him credit, but Michael Stroll is pretty solid at Rockingham.
Yeah, so what I intended to do with this, I went into SimRacer Hub, which has
Yeah.
got a bunch of data for all sorts of iRacing leagues going back I don't know how many years, but I looked up everybody out of the final 16 here in the bracket, and looked up their past results at Rockingham, regardless of what car it was. So it could be the trucks, it could be the Gen 6, it could be the Gen 7, it could be the
All right.
87s, and then look at what their cumulative stats were for Rockingham. So in our first matchup here, Rob versus Mike, Rob has 4 total league starts with 2 top 10s, an average finish of 12.75, but he's pretty damn good at qualifying. He's got 1 pole and his average starting position is 3.75. On the other side of the matchup for him, Michael Stroll has 6 league starts with 3 wins, 5 top 5s, 5 top 10s, an average finish of 5, an average qualifying position of 5.17, 2 of those starts being poles. So,
Maybe.
and on top of that, they're teammates to boot. So,
Yeah.
should be an interesting matchup for sure. Don't know if I really want to publicly make any choices on who's going to win what, but definitely a stout matchup at the top of the bracket there.
I can tell you one
Between
thing.
him and
I
I think between him and I, it's just going to come down to which one of us can stay out of trouble.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was gonna say I will definitely not be pushing Rob to a win this week, but it'll be a fun. That'll be a fun matchup for sure.
Absolutely. The matchup just below that one, Cody and Chad, a little bit of a downer. Chad has already let us know that he's not going to be in town for Rockingham, so Cody is actually going to get an automatic bid into the next round, unless, of course, he's a no-show as well. Um, so won't be reseeding that one. Chad will just take the L and for not showing up, and then Cody will move on to face the winner of Rob versus Mike.
I'll have to have some words with Chad about that. He's going to lose some Dairy Queen coupons for me for it.
Yeah, it's a bummer because he's got 12 league starts, 1 win, and 7 top 5s, 8 top 10s. Average finish 8.08 from the data you put together, Cal, for Chad
Yeah.
Cole. So
Yeah, he's
that'd have been
out of
a
the
solid opportunity.
out of the 16 guys that I did a little bit of research on, I think he was probably in the top 5 as far as a total
Yeah.
resume at Rockingham. So a little bit of
Yeah.
a bummer to not see him go head to head with Cody, who
Oh, Cody's no slouch either.
I was
Yeah.
just about to say, not much of a slouch on his side. You know, a couple of top 10s in the few starts that he's got. I mean, that's all you're really going to need is to have a little bit of staying power, especially as these races are longer than what the most of this our league population is used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say especially with him being a fellow Kansas fanboy too. I know he's a big fan of Rockingham like I am too for sentimental reasons, if you will. So, yeah, bummed that he won't be able to make that one. But I say Cody just needs to make sure he shows up and he'll be feeling good.
hmm Up next in the bracket, we've got Tim Johnston versus Kevin McGarvey. So of note, Kevin has never made a league start at Rockingham. I tried to look and see if he had raced this most recent season at Rockingham in the B car because they had it on the schedule, and I didn't see him make an attempt there. So his experience level with the track is unknown. Could be a surprise. Uh, we'll have to wait and see tomorrow and see how that all shakes out. But as far as known quantities are concerned, uh, Tim really likes this place. He's got 1 win, he's got 2 poles. Usually starts inside the top 5 and finishes just outside the top 10. Um, just and I mentioned in last week's episode, Tim's one of those guys where he's super fast, and it's always the luck that catches him out, the bad luck, I should say. But I have no doubt that Tim is more than likely going to take the W in this matchup, um, unless something unforeseen comes across his nose.
Like one of those slappers.
Yeah, or an errant, a wayward car bouncing off the turn 2 wall and pirouetting down the backstretch and taking him out.
Which we'll see. Depending on, I mean, obviously there's a couple people in the brackets that have no league starts there, but depending on the level of experience at Rockingham is absolutely possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is gonna be this will be an eye opener for some that haven't run Rockingham. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a good weeder to find out who's ready, who puts in the time, who puts in the preparation, and who has the patience to go that far.
Absolutely. And then at the bottom of the left side of this bracket, we've got Don versus Tyler. Don has 3 league starts to Tyler's 10, but with those 3 starts, he's got 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, so he's never finished outside the top 10 at Rockingham. In fact, his average finish is 3.67. He's never finished outside the top 5, so
that's solid.
Or, well, by average finishes, as far as that's concerned.
Sure, yeah.
Tyler, on the other hand, has got a lot more experience at Rockingham, so he's got 10 starts. He has pulled off 1 win and 1 pole position, handful of top 5s, even more top 10s. This is going to be probably one of the closer matchups out of these final 16. Probably even closer than Rob versus Mike. I could definitely see these two actually being close to each other on track as the laps wind down. And of course, it'll. Some people say they're not really paying attention to who their matchup is. They're just going to drive, but I think people full well know who they're up against, and you see them inside the last 15, 20 laps. They notice the guy that they're facing off against is around them. Might see some more defensive driving than we would normally see out of some folks.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Go ahead, Gal.
No, it's and it's a 1-on-1 versus a 1 versus 3. So
yeah,
absolutely,
I think that plays a role too, where it's like you don't like I said, like I wasn't gonna try to figure out 3 people. I can't do that much at the same time. But yeah, if it's like one guy I'm focused on, I can see that happening. But you're right, though, stats wise, these guys are pretty much sitting on top of each other. Like, so, I mean, yeah, Don's got better numbers, but with only 3 versus 10, like, and Tyler's out of his 10, those are really stout numbers too. So that's gonna be a fun one to watch, and it'll be one of those ones they'll probably be up front to advance.
Hey, Gael, to be fair, you also thought you were passing. You thought you were passing for the bracket win when you finished third on last week at Daytona. So I understand that you probably weren't paying attention to that either while you were racing. But
yeah,
Jacob, go ahead.
Don's definitely back in his happy place now that he's not on a restrictor plate. So, no, the real thing I think the where this matchup's going to come into play is if Don's able, or if the race pans out to be a long run, I think it comes right into Don's wheelhouse. He's very good at saving tires, managing runs. Not that he's not fast, but because he is. But that if it gets a longer run, this car is very abrasive, and the track combo is very abrasive on tires. So if we're able to get a longer run in, Don's going to be very hard to beat. If it comes to short runs at the end and they're close together, then I think it's going to be pretty much a coin flip.
Yeah, I think the other thing to also mention is that, Tyler Hensley does have 10 starts, 1 win, 6 top 10s, but he's got an average finish of 11.4. So that may highlight a little bit of inconsistency as well. So we'll see. I mean, if Tyler's on his game, he's definitely got the capability to win this one. Like you said, if it goes long, maybe it will end up being a good battle. I think, like Cal mentioned, it's going to be a tight battle regardless. All right. So let's see. So the next one we've got, Cal just step away again, so we'll keep on rolling here. We've got Alan Dobbs versus Chad Mikas.
About Alan, yeah, Jacob, because a lot of us don't know him whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, neither do I. So,
All right. Oh, I thought he was an integrity guy.
No, so he's new to us this year. I know of him. Like in what little bit I've raced with him here, and like our recruitment races. and different things so far. He seems to be really fast. So I think obviously I've raced with Chad a little bit more given where we were last season, but I think it's going to be a fairly even matchup. I'm not sure what. A- well, I'll take that back. Alan, like when we did our Tuesday night thing this past Tuesday night, Alan was towards the front most of the night. He seemed really comfortable in the Xfinity car by all accounts. So I really expect this to be a fairly even battle as long as they stay clean. Obviously, that's going to be the big thing with all these guys. But
Yeah.
yeah, from what I've raced, seems like a very clean racer. Understands how to, you know, how to manage a race, racecraft, that type of deal.
Sure.
So yeah, just stay out of trouble. If they both do that, I think it'll be a pretty competitive event for them too.
Looking at Alan's stats in the Sim Hub
I was
right
just doing the
now.
same thing. He's got 25 wins and 146 starts.
Yeah, just in the Xfinity car though, he has 33 starts and 11 wins across a couple like 4 different leagues. So he seems to be pretty good at some of these tracks and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I thought for whatever reason he was an integrity guy. I didn't know you picked him up in the recruitment thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, he's got a 33% win percentage in the Xfinity car and the various different leagues that he's run in the past. So should be, I think, it
I'll
would be a
take that.
great challenge. Yeah.
Now a lot of
And
these, I'm looking at the stats, the results. There are very, very, very small fields. So, and I mean like less than 10 cars.
yeah.
So it's a little different when you got a full field. Your racecraft, changes. Depending on the field size. Whether even if you're up front. Say for me or anybody that qualifies up front and races up front, when you got a 43 car field, when you get to the back, you get those guys in the back, you still have to manage your craft. A lot of
Yeah.
these guys, if a lot of these fast guys that get out front, and say you have like a 15 to 20 car field, you might not have to race anybody. You're just on cruise control. So that's a big factor for our guys at Rockingham. Managing traffic and not getting in trouble.
Yeah.
But I feel like if we get a 10, 15 lap run in, because it is 100% fuel this week, I feel like people can get into a rhythm. It's a really rhythm race track. It's kind of like a lot like Darlington, very abrasive, tire saving. Um, so with that said, Alan does seem to be comfortable in B car. I didn't have a problem racing him at Daytona. Now he's going up against Chad, he's our teammate Boomer, and
Yeah.
he's come a long way from when he first joined our team. Um, when Chad is zoned in, Chad can be as fast as anybody, but then he'll sometimes make mistakes, or when his heart isn't completely into what he's doing, he'll slip a little bit.
Yeah. I
So
mean, he's got the stats though. He's got 6 league starts, 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s, average finish 6.17.
yep,
I know he's maybe not quite lost his way, but he's had a lot of really good runs that were ruined, no fault of his own
yeah.
in the last year or so in league racing. So can understand that's definitely disheartening. But I mean, Chad's a wheel man. He'll get up there and run with the best of them on just about any given day. So
Yep, I think a lot of us we're in the moment. Um, I'm not sure how it is for you, Jacob, when you're in the moment, but in our team channel, a lot at DIR we really kind of keep each other level. When someone is getting a little emotional, the other 4 or 5 will step in and say, "Hey, you know, think about this instead." And over like when I got wrecked on Monday, the guy stepped in and said, "Hey, just fix the car. Just stay in it, because I wanted to park it. I thought it was junk. So a lot of us really lift each other up, and that's see how this one plays out.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're kind of used to hanging out all as a big old group anyway, so we kind of chit
You had a
chat.
party going on there, man.
We did, yeah, we usually do. So at work, we kind of hang out and it's a little bit more chill, I guess, probably. Um, but yeah, I think when you're racing out there, you see something happens to one person, you want everybody to succeed or try to do the best they can. So anytime you're able to kind of motivate or push that direction, that's something you certainly try to do.
yeah,
Now this next matchup
this is
is
I
is pretty even for the other reasons.
I think this is probably, in my personal opinion, this is the most even, most exciting matchup there is. But go ahead, tee it up, Michael.
Yeah, because I mean, I think Bernhardt is a little more skilled at the sim than John. I'm not trying to like knock anybody down, but John's uh big thing is long runs and tracks like this.
And
John
consistency.
and right, so John isn't gonna go out there and qualify in the top 15, and he'll tell you that. He's probably shit himself to hopefully even make the field. But if we get 30, 40 laps into it, somehow John will be in the top 20. And he's just chugging along. He's like, yeah, I went so slow in the first 10, 15 laps, and everybody else just burned their stuff up, and here he comes. I've seen it happen. I've seen him do it. If John can figure out his short run pace and be a little more consistent with the wheel and his inputs, John could be a consistent top 15 driver in our league, I think. And same with Brandon. Brandon's the same way.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I was gonna say Brandon's almost an exact same boat as John.
Brandon is the opposite.
Consistent.
Brandon has better short run pace than long run pace. I feel like just what I've observed. I've seen forget a really long run. I've seen Brandon get in trouble just kind of knocking the wall down and stuff. So this, look at the rest of the stuff. This matchup is what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. And I know Gael, you and I have spent. I mean, obviously, Gael. I think your ceiling might be a little bit higher than mine, but as far as like an average, you and I tend to be about the same, and those two guys are right around with us. And I mean, I don't think I've ever raced anybody harder in league racing than you, Gael, and Brandon and John. And I guess Gael, if you want to go through what you expect out of this matchup.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a good group, like I said, with those two. And like I said, they're both good drivers, I say, but yeah, I agree with Stroll though. I think John's definitely the more green flag run. Like, I feel like he really takes care of his stuff. So I've had some races where I don't know if it was Phoenix or where it was, but there's a race where I was like, okay, kind of run away from him a little bit, and then we get maybe like that 15 or so laps and in here he comes in my mirror, and I'm like, wait, where did he come from? And just because he keeps his tires in check, like keep the right front happy in the tight setups, don't get too greedy on the throttle to get the spin off. Usually for me, I'm a right front burner, so that's why I always have to be careful. But and yeah, it's gonna be a good one between those two. I'll be looking forward to seeing it. And like I said, they're gonna probably be right around us. I have a feeling, Boomer. So I'll say I'm gonna stay out of their way.
This is the epitome of the tortoise and the hare.
Yeah.
And I'm not, like I said, I'm not knocking either one of them.
We'll see though,
But
because I know
they're gonna meet in the middle.
Yeah, Brandon has had a lot of has had long run pace in the past, but I noticed
Yeah.
last year or so, Brandon has gotten way better at qualifying, and I think that's really the
Yes.
big difference where he's qualifying top 5, top 10 like consistently, whereas like John and I are definitely not. And I think that's why Brandon, might back up to us a little bit more. Maybe he's just pushing his stuff a little bit more, knowing he's starting further forward. But over a year ago or so, when Brandon, John, and I and Gael were all kind of starting in the same spot, Brandon does have a fair amount of pace for the long run. But so we'll see if he qualifies really high. Which I mean, he's got an average qualifying position here at Rockingham of 8.86 with 7 starts and 2 top 5s. John's got 2 top 5s and 5 starts, but an average qualifying of 15th. But they each have a fairly even average finish of 10th for Brandon and 12.4 for John. So we'll have to see where they qualify, where they start, and if John can reel Brandon in if Brandon does start so much higher.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Um, but not spend too much time on them guys. We
Yeah,
can
sure.
keep on moving.
I think the
During
next
this one,
one's an easy conversation. Blake's gonna win, and that's about all there is
well,
to say.
well, I'll give you a little confidence. If Blake doesn't get his own way, then you'll have a tough job
Yeah, we'll
to
see.
finish ahead of him. But I've seen Blake be really fast, and the last time I remember Blake being here, he got ass packed and then did one of the funniest burns to screw someone over that I like as an admin. I was like, I should probably like maybe penalize him for it. but it was too good I had to let go. So what happened was early in the race, he got arca braked and wrecked, and then coming to the restart, he was supposed to pass that guy who arca braked him, and he just didn't. And the guy got a black flag, and I was like, well, what do you want me to do about that? So Blake, that's the kind of person Blake is. Like he can be very spiteful when he gets upset, but he races you clean. Um, and like I said, if he doesn't knock the wall down off of two, or get caught in somebody else's crap, um, I think he has a good shot at advancing, and possibly facing his teammate in the next round. No, wait, never mind. I'm looking at the bracket wrong. Forget everything I just said.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah,
Not everything, but just the last part. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
he's obviously got a lot of short track experience. I know Jacob, you kind of saw a little bit of that on Tuesday night, seeing him get the win at USA Speedway in our inter series race.
Mm-hmm. Oh, would you? Yeah,
You
I
can
can elaborate, I suppose.
you don't have to if you don't want to.
I thought you were just keep rolling. Yeah, I mean, no, he's really quick. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I think Stroll's on the right track as far as um, kind of he's going to be his own worst enemy if he doesn't make it past the next round. No offense to you, Burmer, but I think that's probably what's going to have to happen in order for Boomer to make it to the next round. Blake. Yeah, Blake didn't make any friends Tuesday night. As the last restart aside, not to get too deep into it, I know there was kind of, which was kind of the point of the inter series deal we did last Tuesday, was for each series to kind of hang out with one another and race and get used to one another, but also hopefully, you know, talk and hang out and kind of just relax or whatever. But at the end of the day, when you get on the track with each other, everybody wants to win, right? Or advance to the feature. In our case, the way we did the heats and stuff. And yeah, and so you know, you're going to race people, how you normally do, whether it's a fun event or an actual points paying event. And I think that showed. And some people took note. So.
Yeah, I think
So yeah, he's just super quick. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Um, and we have some people who run Tuesday nights normally who kind of fit that same billing, and they'll find each other later in the year, and I bet good money that yeah, they'll say hi to one another.
yeah.
Based on some of the things that happened Tuesday.
Yeah,
So.
it'll be
If
interesting
Blake
to see.
Mhm.
if Blake can find a way to advance next week, we're coming to a short track. So it is, at least I think, out of everyone in this bracket,
Yeah,
he's looking good to at least make the final down in Vegas.
potentially, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean he's, we'll go through his stats before we move on, but he's got 7 starts, 2 wins, 6 top 10s, average 6.55s, 2 average finish 4.86. So he's obviously got the consistency and the speed to do it at Rockingham. I've got one start, started 20th, smacked the wall off a 2, and ended my night early. So
See, turn two,
yeah.
baby.
Hopefully, I have a little more patience and practice than that last race. But
Turn two's like a tunnel, man.
it's no secret. I think it's going to come down to if Blake stays on the track and doesn't ruffle feathers and has a clean race. I think he's got that one in the bag. So, but it'll be fun. I mean, I'm just excited to be a part of the bracket and be in the next round, and we'll see. Hopefully, something falls my way. But we still got
Bracket,
one more to go
right?
through.
If
Don
he,
Runkle.
I'm trying to play this out. If Blake does advance, say he advances,
Yep.
he's got Ruckle and Foss, and I'm pretty sure he would get through that round.
Another,
And like I
yeah,
said,
short
if
track.
you if he could somehow like get eliminated here, like say if that happens, you Boomer have a really good chance to get really deep into this bracket. Just how I'm looking at how things are lining up. So this bracket between you and Blake is really critical to how far either one of you go,
Yeah, I
in
mean,
my
I,
opinion.
I feel like so the last matchup there, Don Runkle Jr. and Daniel Fass. Like I feel like I've definitely had some opportunities where I've run with them consistently. have had probably opportunities where I've beaten them and they've beaten me. So I definitely think this, kind of grouping is definitely pretty even. I mean, obviously, if Blake gets out of this next round, he's probably going to be good at Richmond too, being another short track. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens if not. I mean, Don has a lot of experience at Rockingham, though. He's got 21 league starts, one top five, six top tens, average finish of about 16th. He does have one pole, so he does have a lot of experience here. And it looks like, I believe it looks like Daniel Fast actually has, I assume that's supposed to be 10 maybe, but we know he's got at least one top five, one top 10, and an average finish of 24th. So just from that, I think Don's got a lot more experience at Rockingham to potentially just beat out Daniel, but it'll definitely be, I mean, the rest of that bracket on the bottom there is going to be interesting for sure.
I know Daniel's been practicing all week for Rockingham.
Okay.
He watched my Twitch. Gael, Don's your teammate.
He
What
is.
what do you expect at him? Because if Don sees this, I'm not. Don't take offense, but Don can get emotional sometimes. And even if Don's having fun, Don's gonna be okay, and Don has a good chance to advance here. But if Don's not having fun, Don will just probably say the hell with it.
Yeah. Yeah, he wears his emotions on his sleeve. He'll let you know how things are going one way or the other. Sometimes you wish he wouldn't, but I mean that's Don, and we wouldn't have him any other way. It's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to those two. Yeah, I don't think he's been putting in the time like Daniel has. Let's say we've been talking. Say we've been kind of working on some stuff with some friends and teammates and stuff. But yeah, just and then just also, of course, like we were hoping. Unfortunately, we didn't get to run the Bathurst 12-hour. Trying to get that this past weekend didn't pan out. But you're right, though. I mean, when he gets in the zone, he's good, and I think he honestly sells himself short in some of those races as well. So I think it's gonna be fun between them. I told Daniel I was gonna give him all sorts of crap for tonight, just because we've been. I say I don't know where it came from, but him and I just started to just get along really well, and just I say kind of the just poking and prodding at each other, giving each other crap back and forth. So I've definitely been enjoying that with Daniel. So yeah, so I think that's gonna be a fun one between the two of them. I feel like, yeah, I honestly think it's not. I wouldn't say a toss up per se, but I just don't have a good feel for. Obviously, I don't know how much time Daniel's put in. How like I mean, I'm guessing he's gonna obviously be way quicker than he just hopped in tomorrow. And then yeah, and it'll just be I think how comfortable Don is getting in, and then going from there. And honestly, if he doesn't listen, it's probably gonna be for the better, because I think when he just goes out and races for the sake of racing, he gets out of his own head, and like I say, he just does his own thing. So truth be told, if he doesn't listen to this, I might even not even mention it to him just to let him go race. But I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure he's aware of it, because I know he mentioned that he let us know in our PMS chat that he advanced last week, which he was happy about. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have fun with it. I'll be keeping an eye on this. I might have to play counselor here and there, be like, hey, just relax. let's go a lap at a time, see how things shake out. But I'm looking forward to it. I love hanging out with him and all the teammates, and yeah, it's always a good time.
Yeah, so actually the going back to Daniel Fass's stats too, he's got 0 league starts here, but he had one top five, one top 10 in all 19 of his league starts. Though his only top five, his only top 10, top five came in the super late model. So it'll be interesting to see with the Xfinity car here how he does. But as you guys mentioned, should be a pretty solid night, and have to see how Don Runkle does and see if he's paying attention to that throughout the night, Gael.
Yeah. Well, I'll kind of keep an eye and see if he brings it up or not. But yeah, it'll be
Let him
fun.
bring
I'm
it up
I'm looking.
first.
Yeah, exactly. I'll let him bring up, then we'll go from there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be
Yeah.
fun to see. And yeah, like I said, my main thing now that I'm out of it is I want to make sure I don't play a role in any of these guys' brackets. Like I just want to race my race, like almost like a playoff now, where it's like you want to get the best result you can, but I also don't want to be in the way of some of these guys in their battles. Like I don't want to be that guy that costs somebody in advancing. So
Right.
I just say that might be the one thing that's a little different for me is I might race a little, even a little bit more tentative than I normally do.
Yeah,
So
definitely. It's just like trying to, race around playoff drivers too. You don't want to mess up something else for them. Obviously, a little bit less on the line here, but I think there's still $30, I think, for the bracket champion, if I'm not mistaken. There, Jacob
So yeah,
Revival.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's still some dough on the line, but yeah.
So to wrap this up, how about we do some bracket picks? Don't
Sure.
obviously if we come to a point where you're in
Yeah.
it yourself, don't say nothing.
I'm
I won't
not.
say nothing, Missy. So
I'm
we
not
can
picking
go.
me, but yeah.
Yeah. So we can go. Uh,
Why don't
keep
you
on
start,
going.
Michael?
Yeah, we can. I'll start at the bottom right and work backwards.
Okay.
Do we have I guess what do you want to do? Just want to do the whole thing
Sure.
each
Yeah. If you want
individually?
to, yeah,
Yeah,
make
yeah.
your
We'll do
picks
that.
for each one real
So
quick. Yeah.
between Don and Daniel, just based on what I know with Daniel putting the work in, I'll pick Daniel to advance, and go head to head with Blake Gordon at Richmond. And then moving up, uh, I will pick man Bernhardt and John. I have to go with Brandon. Um, that is really tough. I can go
Yeah.
either way. I'll take Brandon to go against Chad Mikas, just because I don't know Alan's repertoire, or what you want to call it, at the intermediates. So you have Brandon and Chad moving on to Richmond, and then over here down to the lower left, we got Don and Tyler. I'll take Don Stevenson, just based on Tyler's that either one of those guys can come out of it, but just based on Tyler's recent luck, hopefully it turns around for him. I know, he's looking forward to that. But I'll take Don Stevenson going against Timothy Johnston. Um, Next week at Richmond, Cody Smith is already advancing, and well, there's me and Rob. So
Pick
um,
one.
I'll pick myself.
All right.
I think I outrun Rob, pretty often, and Rob's just as fast. But it can go either way. Whichever one of us can stay out of trouble will advance.
All right. Gael, you want to go through yours?
All right, I'll follow the same approach, going from the most recent to the where we start off with, and I say, yeah, I'll switch on that one. I'll switch over to my teammate Don. I say it's a tougher tracks he zones in, so I'm thinking Don's gonna be able to focus on there. And I love you, Boomer. But yeah, Blake's a monster, and
Appreciate it.
and yeah, I say the same thing. Is like it's these really tough tracks, and that's where he seems like just you get those little extra tenths out, and that's what Blake seems to do. I am flipping from Stroll though. I'm gonna go with Gervin. I think Gervin's gonna have the edge. I think just the way this track is, I feel like he's going to be more of the race the racetrack type guy. I feel like Brandon's going to be a little more aggressive, kind of on the restarts and such. And yeah, going with our boy Chad as well, with against Alan. So sorry, Alan. And then I'm gonna say I asked Pactum last week, but Luck's gonna turn back around. Tyler's gonna advance this here from tomorrow, and then yeah, Tim. Like I said, I know I've been singing praises on Tim. Hopefully, I don't do the podcast curse on him, if you will. So I do the commentator side for sure. So hopefully it doesn't carry over here. And I would have loved to see Chad race against Cody, but yeah, like I said, Cody going through. And oh man, Stroll and Ackley, that is a tough one between you two. I mean, obviously Rob just got the win last week, so he's on the high from Daytona. I'm gonna say with him having the win, I think that's gonna kind of just build the drive on your side, Stroll. So I'm gonna say you're gonna eke out against Rob here as well.
All right.
My turn.
Sure.
All right. I don't know Don or Daniel, e- any more than the other. So I'm gonna go on the quick tip with the practice Daniel's been putting in. We'll put Daniel through the next round. Um, I think as long as Blake doesn't, wreck himself or get caught in somebody else's stuff, I think he'll move on out of you and Boomer there. Then I will go with Bernhardt for the next bracket there. Um, no particular reason, to be perfectly honest. He does seem to have a little bit more initial speed there. I kind of get the feeling with as large of fields we have, it might be some shorter runs than longer. So we'll go with Bernhardt for that. I'm going to go with the wild card here. I'm going to go with Dobbs out of him and Chad. I think it's going to be a 50-50 coin flip. I think they're both particularly fast from what we've seen, or what I've seen so far, I guess that's more specific. But I'll go with Dobbs on that to advance. Down to the bottom side of the bracket, I think it's kind of the same thing we just talked about. It's probably a 50-50 coin flip. I do see having more cautions this race with the full field at Rockingham. That probably plays a little closer to Tyler. But I'm going to go with Don I think he'll be able to still um, come out. He just likes these types of tracks, I think. So I'll give the advantage to him. Uh, Timothy Johnson, I think, will carry on for that bracket there. From what I've seen in previous races that I've run with him, um, and I just don't know Kevin as much, unfortunately. Hopefully that'll change as the season progresses. But um, obviously Cody will move on with the bye, and then between Ackley and Stroll, it's going to be really really tight. Um, I'll probably be horribly wrong, and that's okay. But I'm going to go against the grain here. I'm going to go with Ackley.
Okay.
It's one of those 50-50 toss-ups.
Yeah.
And I think they're probably both going to be in the top five probably by the time the end of the race rolls around anyway. And it's just a matter of maybe a late race restart or maybe a strategy call in the last quarter of the race that you know uh, might tip the scales one way or the other. But we'll just roll with Ackley. I think that'll be a close battle for sure.
Cool. All right. Well, I think we're gonna go with. For me, I'm gonna go with Don Runkle. I think just 21 league starts in iRacing at Rockingham. That's a lot of experience. No matter how much Daniel Fast has been working this week. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna pick myself. Nobody else will, so I gotta. I don't think I'm gonna win, but I'm gonna pick myself anyway because it's fun to bet on yourself, I guess. Brandon and John, I still think is going to be probably one of the most exciting battles, but I'm going to give this one to Brandon. I think his qualifying effort's going to put him in a better position to lead that battle most of the race, and as long as he stays out of trouble, I think he's got a little bit of an edge over John. I got to pick my other teammate Chad though. Sorry, John, I'm picking you, but I got to pick my other teammate Chad. See him advance over Allen. Don Stevenson for me seems to be more consistent at Rockingham just based on the stats. So I'm going to go with him over Tyler Hensley. And I think just about all of us picked Tim Johnson. So I'm going with Tim there. Obviously the bye week pretty much for Cody Smith. Unfortunate for Chad, but show must go on. So Cody will get that bid, and I think I am going to pick Michael Stroll. 3 wins in 6 starts. It's hard to beat that. So. Should be a lot of fun though. Obviously, we got that action lined up for tomorrow night. It'll be live on Fireball Talks NASCAR FTN on YouTube. I think by now just about everyone in the league should know who our broadcaster is, but
And
be exciting to
subscribe to his
see.
YouTube if you haven't
Yeah,
either. That way it helps him,
absolutely.
and then you get to find the races easier.
Yeah, for sure. It's good. Always fun to watch back. Obviously, Dave's done a really good job so far this season. It's always fun to rewatch broadcasts and see how it went.
Yeah, I honestly, to Gael's point, honestly, when you like his broadcast and subscribe to it, it helps us as well, as
Yeah.
we're trying to do things behind the scenes to elevate our league and attract people to come be a part of it. Having higher views, higher subscriptions, more interactions, and whatnot. All that goes to um, being able to show what type of league we are. So any help with that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, for sure.
Numbers right off the rip, in my opinion, are great. Um, at least for the 2 Monday races that we've done, they're both over 250, and I know the clash that you guys had on Tuesdays was like over 230. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so the numbers are good. Stadium Scene TV has been helping out on Twitter, and we're getting some eyeballs on us, and it's a good thing.
Yep.
Yeah, if nothing else, helps us all out and helps the league out. So, and take a second to also plug the 10 questions with Boomer interview series as well. We actually talked with Cal, who had to step away again, but Cal was our interview from this week. It's a great read. Some of his humor shines through, and it was a lot of fun to put together. And appreciate Cal for sitting down with us last week. And next week we'll have Tom Wetmore up as well. So that's another thing that definitely obviously kind of promote that myself, but because I'm the one running those. But it's good to get that in the league's eye and try to spread that as much as you can. So
Mm-hmm.
appreciate all of you reading through that. I know I have a lot of fun putting those together. So it's definitely something else along with the broadcasts and along with now the fill up that we have here to get you guys to know the rest of our drivers and friends better.
One little nugget for tomorrow.
Sure.
And I will not say this in the drivers' meeting, just so tomorrow's race will have 4 qualifying laps. And the reason why we're doing this is because some of our drivers were concerned about missing the field. Anything can happen. You get a 0x and doesn't count your lap, whatever. So we added a couple laps. In case you do mess up, you can kind of try again, and we feel that's a little fair. Um, I'm sure some guys will find out if they're not watching this. They'll find out in the server tomorrow. And also, as I was thinking about that, for us fast guys too, if we run 2 laps, we can park it and try to get a faster lap. So it's a little caveat that throw a wrench in there a little bit. That will change, I think, week to week based on the track. I think maybe probably Richmond next week will have the same. We'll see how car counts go. So hopefully they stay healthy as we try to, as admins anyway, try to do things to keep those 40 guys all engaged because we know how leagues, things can taper off. But I feel real confident that we can keep those car counts up with things like the brackets and stuff like that, and keeping it interesting every week. So
Yeah.
That's a cool idea. I like that.
Yeah. So final thoughts. What are you guys expecting tomorrow night at Rockingham?
gut is telling me chaos. My heart is saying I have confidence in our group that we won't have chaos. I think we'll have a couple quick yells in the beginning until everyone kind of settles down. One reason why these races are long, if you look at my SimHub stats anyway, at the Rock, no races over 150 laps. We're doing 165, and that even for the Rock, only being a mile track is still a pretty lengthy race. And we did that because we expected full fields and didn't want people who were qualifying in the back to feel rushed. We feel like that creates chaos and unwanted yells. It gives everyone time to just settle in. So if you guys are listening to this, and I'll say this in the drivers meeting tomorrow, just take the green flag, settle in. If you're 35th after lap 30, don't panic. Just ride and get the strategy going. Let guys burn their stuff off. There will be comers and goers, and no one wants to pace. So, and watch out for turn 2. I've
Yeah.
been stressing that for about a week now to all my teammates. Turn 2 will make or break your race one way or the other.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't raced there in a while. I've always enjoyed it. I think I enjoy it more than I'm good at it. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to running over there. And like you said, turn 2, that's you got to hit your lines right there because like you said, otherwise that wall it feels like it jumps after you. So I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm gonna probably be stressing come qualifying time. Probably hoping that a few extra guys maybe can't make it to help ease the stress a tiny bit just to be safe. But I love the idea about the extra laps because I feel like it only really helps everybody. Like I said, because you're right. I mean, you touch the wall, you get that little 0x, even if it didn't affect anything, it's still gonna knock your lap away. So yeah, I think that's gonna be a really cool idea. So props to you guys for coming up with that one. And yeah, I can't wait. I'm ready to have some fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, you like Rockingham, Jacob?
I do. It's a fun track. I think I tend to do better at tracks that are A, shorter, but B, unique and have you got to work at it a little bit. So I enjoy that. I think I kind of agree with you, Stroll, as far as how the race is going to play out. I think for 43 cars or 40 to 43 is probably what we're going to get. Hopefully, um, that's a lot of cars to pack into turn 2. It's not even getting through individually either. Is the thing. It's also the car tends to push off a 2. So if you're side by side, it just narrows up, exponentially off the corner there.
Yep.
So if the outside guy doesn't get their angle right, they hit the wall, they come down, and then half the track's blocked before you know it. Um, so that's going to be the challenge, right, for everybody. And I don't think that really matters whether you're in fourth or 34th. Um, so if we can manage that well, I think it'll be a great race, and I really do hope there are some longer runs to really get an understanding of, kind of like we talked about earlier, guys that are good at saving tires, say Gervin, or somebody along those lines, can make a bunch of spots up if we get longer green flag runs. If we don't get those, there's not really that opportunity to um, take advantage of some of us, and I'm probably one of the guilty ones of it who just burn through their stuff. Even if I try to save, I still don't save. Um, so I think that's really going to be what the race boils down to. I'd love to see longer green flag runs because it could be a great race, but we're going to have to really be on our toes as far as um, understanding track position in terms of where your car placement is on the track and how much room we're giving to another guy and things like that. Because it's that back stretch is just super treacherous.
And speaking of like long runs, like if you look at the races I've done at the Rock, there's probably an average of 20, 25 cars. I haven't run at least in the Sim Hub a full race, a full field at the Rock, but I did one when I did the 600 with the 87s with the tryhards. I had started 40th, and let me tell you, being that far back with that many cars, we started the race like the first like 80 laps were green, and you had guys pitting early and had guys on fresh tires. So say if we get a long green run, you're gonna have different pit strategies because on fuel, this is a one-stop race. So if we get a long green run, I expect to see guys maybe try a tire strategy, but you can also get really lost on where you actually are on the track compared to your competition if we get in that situation because there's cars everywhere, and and you got guys who are zipping by you, and like you can get into like a really like weird headspace when there's that many cars on that particular track because you don't know, it's just cars everywhere. And I hope we kind of get to that point in the race where we get some green flag runs and green flag stops because you're gonna be like, I don't even know what position I'm running in or if I'm even on the lead lap or what's going on because there's just shit everywhere, and that's fun to me. And to see how people manage those guys who are like really slow on old tires and guys who are really coming fast, trying to tire strategy, trying to undercut and stuff like that. So, should be interesting.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a game of patience for sure. I mean, trying to push as much as you can without pushing too hard, and I think really saving your stuff is going to mean more than just about anything. But it should be a good race, and I think we're all really excited to get back on track. Second race of the Ignite series. Looking forward to in a couple weeks the Octane series starting up too. But we've got some action this week for Monday nights, and tomorrow should be a lot of fun as well. We do have one thing for those of you who are listening in the Integrity series. We do want to mention before we sign off. There's a poll for our drivers in the Integrity chat. We're trying to figure out the best way to award a year-long or season-long champion, if you will. Um, Trying to determine how many drop weeks might be best to be considered for that. I think the poll asked for 0, 2, or 4. So hopefully we get a chance to get some more drivers to respond to that. But I think we can't really announce too much of what our plans are right now or what we're trying to do for a season long championship as far as a reward for that. But I know it's kind of a unique situation here on Monday nights with Ignite to have two separate championships and trying to figure out how to combine those two championships into one overall year-long champion, kind of like the Octane series has with their full year-long season. But try and see how we can do that the best, and know that we're trying to put something as the best thing we possibly can put together for you guys for an award for that. But if you get a chance, make sure you respond to that poll, and yeah, should be good. Looking forward to this week. I guess if you guys have any final thoughts before we sign off here, let you guys get to it.
No, I'm just ready for tomorrow.
Cool.
Yeah, same. I mean, we're right around the corner with the Octane series as well. Having Tuesday night off, obviously for Valentine's Day, so we don't have a bunch of divorces for guys trying to sign up for a race.
Yeah, my wife appreciates you for that. Thank you.
Yes, so does mine. And then, but yeah, I mean, the Ignite series is off to a great start, and hopefully that'll carry over tomorrow with some more great racing. And then, like I said, a week from Tuesday will be the kickoff for the Octane series, and we'll be back at Daytona, ready to mix it up and get on off for both of our series to have a good start to the year. So really looking forward to it, and should be a great time.
Yeah, it's honestly the same as I'm just ready for tomorrow. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm gonna have to remind myself to focus on what I'm doing, not what everybody else around me is doing, because you get sucked into those battles around you, and that's
Yeah.
when bad things happen. So I'm gonna try to be smart and race the racetrack, kind of pull a Darlington, like Stroll's mentioning. It's a very similar one. I think the big thing for tomorrow is gonna be some give and take too, where yeah, you have to be a little smart about on certain times, kind of make sure you like there's a right time and place to make some moves, and yeah, sometimes unfortunately you just got to back it down a bit. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully I can keep myself out of trouble and get a good result.
Yeah, I think we're all hoping for that for sure. So, yeah, well, this has been great. I know bummed Cal couldn't join us. Obviously, he's got a couple things to attend to at home, but he'll be back for next week, and I think he'll probably be the one leading these for the most part. I know him and I plan on and doing most of these. I think Michael and Jacob and will probably join us for a few here and there, and I know we'll have try to have another driver rotating in and out here and there as well, but try to bring some more content to you guys every week and a little bit of a recap and what's to come. So that'll pretty much do it, I think, for myself, Boomer Logan, Michael Stroll, Jacob Fife, and Gael Brooks here on the Phillip, as well as Kalvin Filarski. Appreciate everyone tuning in and can't wait to see you next week.
Yeah. See you guys. Y'all have a good night.
Take care, guys.
Later.
And scene.
All right, I got to jump out of here. But
Sounds good, man.
also reminder to remove my admin privileges.
Oh, sure.
See you guys tomorrow.
Yep,
Later.
have a
Bye,
good
bye,
one.
man.
Just gonna message Cal. That's cool. I'm excited we're doing this.
Yeah, I
It's like
think it's
the
a nice change. Um, something we can kind of get in the habit of doing. Hopefully, people be able to watch and get information for and all that fun
yeah.
stuff.
Are you planning on joining these most weeks?
Um,
I guess I
we
know maybe not with the kid coming.
yeah, so probably trying to think. At the latest next week would probably be my last one.
Okay,
And even that's iffy because I know
gotcha.
we're going to be doing baby things here in about 2 weeks, so less
Sure.
than 2 weeks now. So
Okay.
um,
Is that your first?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're no later than the 23rd now. Our due
Okay.
date was the 3rd of March, and now they moved it up. So and it could be
Okay.
sooner. So
That's like
um,
the induction date if
mm,
they don't come by then.
yeah. So
Good
um,
deal.
so we'll see how that plays out, and then yeah. So I'll probably be on for next week, maybe,
Okay.
depending on how that goes or what
Yeah,
we're
no worries.
doing or not doing at that point, as far as getting ready still and all that. But then after that, I'll probably miss a few, and then maybe
Yeah.
pop back in here and
Yeah, fair enough.
there.
I know we're kind of at the point where we're talking about starting to try and um already talking about, maybe not doing every night of the iRacing things that I do already. So we're already starting to have those conversations before we're even fully ready. So I understand. Hopefully all goes
Yeah.
well for you guys.
Well, it's yeah. Well, yeah. We're in the home stretch now, but um, yeah. It's just picking your nights or whatever. Like
Mhm.
you know, obviously, in my 20s or whatever, I just was on here every night, had fun, and fooled around all that crap.
Right.
But usually, for the most part now, it's just two league nights, and then that's pretty much it for the most part. And if I get on here and there
Yeah.
for fun or whatever while she's out, then great. But otherwise, it's that seems to work out pretty well. So we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see if that changes anymore once baby number one arrives. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's a good experience. We're looking forward to it, and
Yeah.
it's quickly approaching. So
Yeah. Yeah, man. We've got a lot of friends and family that are even the last like 2 years having their last 2-3 years having their first kid, and we're kind of a little bit later to that game just because my wife wanted to finish grad school first, but now that she's got her real job here, we're probably gonna
yeah,
be pretty close. But
that makes sense. Brittany's in the same boat. She just finished her master's
okay,
2 years ago. Um, I know it's been less than that. Um, But so yeah, want to get those things out of the way. Then obviously moving out here and just different things. It's kind of
Hmm.
we're a little bit older than I'm kind of with you. We're behind. Like I've got friends of mine who are younger who've had their
Yeah.
first party, so which is fine.
Right.
My dad was in his late 30s before he had me, so it's not too
Yeah.
far from the ball game that we've been playing, but maybe not not the same
Right.
game everybody else is. So
Sure. Yeah. I know.
uh,
My dad was. I think my dad was 34. My mom was 24. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
it's doesn't matter
Yeah.
when you do it, as long as
Sure.
you know, as long as it works for you, you make it work, it'll be all right. So
Yeah. Definitely. Well, cool. Well, yeah. Best of luck.
thanks.
Appreciate you joining. Hopefully, you can join for one more, and you'll be back soon enough. But hope all goes well.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it, man.
Yep. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.